O'Neill channel. It's Manchester United transfer news. We've got news on Jadon Sancho, Michael Olise, plus anything and everything you want to talk about, Red. So get it in the chat and we'll try and answer some of your comments throughout today's video. Now, first of all, it's been widely reported, particularly from Fabrizio Romano, that Jadon Sancho and the deal is advancing to the key stages to Borussia Dortmund. Jadon Sancho wants the deal to Dortmund and the German club want the talks to be concluded very soon. Man United are now open to accept the loan, but they'll have to pay part of Sancho's salary and Dortmund will have to plus pay a loan fee. Now, your first thoughts on all that?
Yeah, all the reports are out there. This looks as though it's going to go through, but the question I ask myself on this is simple, really. Dortmund clearly think they can get Sancho playing football. That's why they want him. And, you have to look at it and say, well, if Dortmund think they can get him playing football, then why haven't United? If he's such a talent, that's how I look at it. Yes, it's proceeding. Yes, Jadon Sancho will want to go back there. Looked after there, his timekeeping and all that. They looked after him. Yes, it was a bit erratic over there, but they were happy with it. They could deal with it. Jadon Sancho was happy over there, so it'll do him the world of good. United, big proportion of the fee. Well, what's a big proportion? I think the majority of it. I don't think Dortmund will be paying a lot, but it's all the money. And
some reports are saying that Dortmund are looking at paying a €3.5 million loan fee with wages included in that.
Yeah, it's baffling, this money. I think there will be a bit of talking going on and a bit of chewing and throwing, because at the end of the day, United are still paying the transfer fee. When we bought him, 73 million. His contract, we was to pay all of it over the term of his contract. So they're still paying instalments. So there's a little bit of fudging going on here. But modern football, this is how transfers are done now. Pay on the drip, as they say, each year. But at the end of the day, who's paying what? A lot of money. This Sancho, it's been poor, really. It's been poor from signing him, from looking after him. All the reports about there being late.
Yeah, but the warning signs were all there, even from Borussia Dortmund.
But they weren't
his time there. And like you say, we've mentioned it before about due diligence with players' background and attitudes, etc. So, for me, I think even the current coach, Edin Terzic, I think his name is, he was a part of the backroom staff of when the problems were there and when there was team meetings. I remember reading a report by Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic saying he used to have to stand outside his hotel room door, banging on his door to make sure he'd turn up for team meetings on time. So the problems have always been there. And for me, I'm just a little bit like that of why they would want him back when they already know them similar situations they've been in before with him.
Well, like I said, they clearly think they can get the best out of him. He's done well over there. There's no two ways about that. But looking at it there, I think what United are thinking is, let's just get him out of here for 6 months. Let's get him somewhere else. Let's have a breather. The people who are going to be in charge, Ineos, of the footballing matters, they're thinking, because they have to sanction this, and it looks as though they're sanctioning it. And I think they just want a breather from all the commotion surrounding Jadon Sancho, which is the right thing to do, and then look at it in the summer. But in the summer, will someone buy him? Will United get rid of him? Only time will tell on that. You just don't know what's going to happen in the summer. But, it is his wages what are the big problem in and around United, to be honest with you, getting rid of players. Who's going to buy him on such high wages? Because he has got a while to go yet for his contract.
Yeah, I think his contract runs out in the summer of 2026, which Man United then have the 1 year option to extend to 2027. So there's quite a bit of a length left on that contract. And if United are looking at selling him, which it looks like they are, and wanting to get rid of as soon as possible, let's hope in this 6 month spell that he's got at Borussia Dortmund, he actually turns it up and pulls up trees, so to speak. And, other clubs, not just Borussia Dortmund, then fancy taking a bit of a punt on him. But again, the wages will come into effect. So I can't see Manchester United getting anywhere near what they paid for Borussia Dortmund.
No, I can't.
To Borussia Dortmund.
I can't see anyone really wanting to pay big money for someone on such high wages. You look at it as well going into Dortmund. I mean, in September, when it all kicked off with Erik ten Hag and himself with the social media post, he was instantly banished to train on his own. and then subsequently he's been training with the under-21s. So he won't be match fit. It will take time for him to get match fit with Dortmund. So will we see him? Well, for me, for United to get rid of him, he's going to have to rip that Bundesliga up for anyone to be interested in paying big money for him in the summer. So he has to be a star over there. He has to perform for anyone to get interest to buy him and to pay them wages. So, you know,
they might already have a problem anyway, because when's he played first team football? When was the last time he played first team football? It's before we played Arsenal away.
Yeah.
So it's still going to take roughly, 3-4 weeks or so to get him up to like match fitness, surely.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen the problems that we've had with him in the past, where we had to send him over to Holland to get match fit. So, you know, Dortmund have got a big job on their hands here just to get him match fit.
Well, that's the thing. It is a massive job to get him match fit and get him performing. But, you know, I don't understand why they think they can do it and why Manchester United. I mean, you've got to look at why United have failed with him to get him to be the player they thought he was and what he was in Dortmund. You know, have the coaches got it wrong? You know, have we signed a dud who's just quite happy in that structure in Dortmund, you know? So you have to look at how he's been looked after here, how he's been coached, and the position of where he's played on the field, because he has played in several different positions.
Yeah, I did come over here with a lot of potential. A lot of people out there were happy to see that signing of Jadon Sancho, and I was included in that. But when you look back on it, you know, that's transfer originally dragged out for a good 12 months or so, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, from summer to summer. And he was only ever seeing, really, Manchester United who were actually in for Jadon Sancho. So, really, was the warning signs already there that there was no other clubs, top clubs around Europe, actually making bids, you know, showing the interest in him?
Well, you've got to look at it from that point of view going forward. If United want to sell him, United were the only club in for him. Now he's on massive wages.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
even worse.
I think it was like 12, 18 months United were looking for him. And I didn't see anyone. If you know out there, then just please let us know. But I didn't see anyone else coming in for Jadon Sancho. And now he's on such massive wages. You know, are United really expecting somebody to come in and pay good money and then pay them wages in the summer for him? But I'll go back to what I said before. I think United are just quite happy. I think Ineos are just quite happy to get him out of the club for now, to give themselves breathing space to deal with all the problems what are going to come, and there are massive problems going to come in the summer. So, you know, good for Jadon Sancho, and it might work out for Dortmund.
Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos must be happy with it, because in that SEC report, the 241-page one, it did say that they have to be briefed over all transfers, incoming, outgoing, any sackings of the manager, backroom staff, etc. So they must be briefed on it and be quite happy for him to go on this loan deal.
Yeah, they're quite happy. I think that's why it's being quickly sorted out. It's well advanced, as we said before. But today, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is round Carrington, and Jadon Sancho's in there with the under-21s training. So eyeball contact will be made today. And it'll just be nice to see a picture, someone produce a picture of Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
There's going to be someone in a bush somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah.
Whether it's a phone or a long lens camera to try and get a picture of that.
But it'd be great to see a picture of Sir Jim Ratcliffe as a Manchester United fan, looking at him and saying, what have you done here? So Sir Jim Ratcliffe might give him the eye today, and you never know, he might even talk to him today to wish him well on his journey and see him in the summer.
Yeah, I think it was straight after the Arsenal game, wasn't it, when Ten Hag was asked why wasn't Sancho selected, and he did allude to obviously his performances in training. Sancho obviously then put that statement out on social media, which it was a couple of paragraphs, but I want to read you the bottom paragraph of what he actually put on that. And he said, all I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to my team. I respect all the decisions made by the coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and grateful to do so, which I know every week is a challenge. I will continue to fight for this badge no matter what. Now, since he posted that, have you seen anything at all what makes you think he's fought to get back into this team?
That is a post by the modern day footballer now, just PR, absolute garbage. If you So he talks about the badge, playing for the badge and all that. Listen,
have you seen him do that in his time at Manchester United?
Look, I've not seen anything from Jadon Sancho for the fee we paid for him. I think if he talks about playing for the badge, he's playing with great players, wants to perform for Manchester United and all that, he's not shown it. And when you talk about playing for the badge includes, right, discipline, listening to the manager, listening to the coaches, and doing what every other great footballer at Manchester United has done in tradition. You know, you work for each other. To me, Jadon Sancho looks after Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho doesn't seem to care. He doesn't. To me, that statement there is just baloney. Absolute baloney. It's baloney. Well, it is. It is. It doesn't make sense to me, because he is constantly, and obviously with the dispute with Ten Hag in September, something clearly happened in training, and it's not for the first time.
I think there's been a build-up there, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they've tried to like keep it out of the way of the press, etc., and tried working on him, you know, trying to give him like set times when to get up, you know, like a bit of a routine. Yeah, but it's just failed. It's like it'd be all right for a few weeks, like it said in that report from The Athletic, and then it just slowly went back to how it was.
But then that tells you that statement is a load of garbage, because he has constantly, since he's been here, always been a disruption in one way or another. He hasn't settled. He didn't. I don't think he wants to settle down in life. I think he just wants to breeze through it, and everyone jumps to him and helps him out. Unfortunately, you know, United have fell for it, and they've looked after him, and when they should have dealt with it straight away. He does not seem to care, in my opinion, about anything what goes on inside Manchester United. He only seems to care, as I see it, on all the reports and everything else what I'm hearing. He's not bothered about anybody except himself. So when he talks about the badge, you know, meaning in the heart and everything, and I'll play for the badge and respects everyone, he doesn't. He just doesn't, you know, and that's why that statement is an embarrassment to him. He does not care at all.
Do you think there's any players in the current squad who are maybe on the side of Jadon Sancho more so than the manager of Erik Ten Hag in what happened there, and it was actually handled by the club and the manager?
I think Jadon Sancho has got a little clique of friends in there, what will back him, what will take his side. Happens everywhere, do you know what I mean? He hasn't got United at heart.
Is that what the problem is there? Do you think we've got too many players who are like that? You know, just turning up here for the brand, the PR, and also just to take the wages? Is that why we've seen some performances like we have done on the pitch, where we're talking about work ethic, tracking back, running for the team?
I think for a long time, Manchester United have encouraged the brand, the PR and everything else. The problem we have signed, and lots of people out there have made comments over the last couple of years saying we're just signing players for the PR, for the social media side of it, to sell the shirts and all that. Jadon Sancho, he's come over here, had a great PR team, great social media following and everything else like that. And that's the world he lives in, as I see it. And he thinks all the hard work's done, and he's come to United, and United have just messed it up. But this goes back a long way with the footballing people in charge for a long, long time now. They have made mistakes. They have made signings for the PR side of it, for the social media side, for selling the shirts and all the everything else like that. So at the end of the day, this is ingrained in the fabric of United. And like I've said many, many times before, Jadon Sancho epitomises what the virus is in Manchester United.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the chat. Everyone wants to see the back of Jadon Sancho, to be honest with you, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But if there's anyone in the chat who's got a different of opinion, you know, looking at it from a different aspect, get it in the chat. And I will want to read it out, to be honest with you. But moving on, there's been an article in the Standard newspaper from Nizar Kinsella, and it's about Michael Olise from Crystal Palace. And it's saying that United are interested in signing the Palace attacker, Michael Olise. It's reported that United want to make Olise one of the first signings of the Jim Ratcliffe era. However, it is reported that any move for him will not take place until the summer.
Well, I look at Olise, and I've seen him play. Good player in the Premier League, you know. But there's lots of other good players in the Premier League of his standard. He's not world class. And I look at what Manchester United have got. what Manchester United have got, they've got a lot of youngsters what are already in the squad. You know, it's not other youngsters we need adding to the squad. What United should be looking at is actually bringing in proven players. That's what we need, world-class players.
And develop their own youngsters through the academy.
Well,
and when you need to add that experienced player, you know, someone who's been there, done it, you know, they've got the T-shirt, then pay a good transfer fee for him to bring him in.
Yeah, we've got enough youngsters. We've got enough youngsters, you know, and the history of United is bringing youngsters through. And at this moment in time, we've got a lot of youngsters. We don't need to bring in Olise and then try and develop him into be the world-class player. We need some proven players. And at the end of the day, right, United have failed to bring in proven world-class players. They brought in players at the end of their world-class playing career to sort of like Casemiro, like Varane. Do you know what I mean? It's that has been continuous for many years now. You only have to look at Cavani and people like that. These forwards, what we brought in, Ronaldo. You know, you look at them, Zlatan and all that. They're all there. They're all at the end of the career. What we need is a world-class at least two world-class players bringing into this team, right, to help develop the youngsters we've got. Because the youngsters we've got are already showing signs that they can make it in the Premier League. Now, will they be as good as Olise? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't bring Alisa. I wouldn't bring somebody in like that. We're just adding to the young pile what we've already got. Let's develop what we've got and bring in players who have a proven track record to help these players. Yeah. That's how I see it. And I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos will go down that route of developing youngsters, not bringing them in.
Yeah, developing the scouting department and the strategy being that way of, you know, getting the scouts to an elite level, bringing in young players, developing them through Manchester United and bringing them through to the first team.
I think that's. Surely. I think. Listen, I don't know about that scouting department. But I'll tell you.
This is what worries me though, because this report's coming out now, and there's not been any changes just yet with the scouting department. We've not got a sporting director or two sporting directors coming in. Dan Ashworth, Paul Mitchell's being mentioned. Yeah. And you know, even on that report by the Standard, it says Elise's current contract. There's a release clause in it that's 35 million, but that then goes up again in the summertime now. This is the kind of business Manchester United have been doing for the past decade, and it's all been going wrong. So for me, that's a similar route what they're going down, and surely that's not the same strategy they're going to be keeping to. Surely Ineos.
What we have to look at is it's
British players as well. There's always a premium. You know what Crystal Palace are like. We've seen it with Wilfried Zaha, the money they wanted for him. So what are they going to be wanting for Olise in the summer? It'd be madness.
Madness.
And he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but.
No. He's a good player, but at the end of the day, it's reports. Listen, you talk about the scouting. Listen, I'm being deadly serious here when I talk about Man United scouting. It's got to be smashed up because it's been use them words. Been atrocious. Right? They've got to smash it to smithereens because it is poor. I've never known a scouting department as poor. The amount of people they've got involved there, it needs trimming down, like all departments do. But the scouting department has been atrocious, to be honest with you, and it has let Manchester United down. Whereas in the past, it's always been able to pick players, young players, develop them, and all that. But then the system from years ago is completely different than what it is now. So it needs a full overhaul.
Yeah, it does. Definitely. I agree with you. Just going back to Sancho, Kruna says the Premier League is not the Bundesliga. United is not the problem as far as Sancho is concerned. And I think you may be going off they're different in levels, really, because obviously the Premier League is the fastest, it's the best league in the world, whereas the Bundesliga, where do you rank that amongst the top European leagues?
Listen, we all know that the two leagues are different, okay? But when you see Dortmund and then you see Bayern Munich, I think they're at a different level than a lot of the sides. Well, Dortmund have been up there, so they know what it's like to produce and play top quality football. They've got all the European experience now. So coming to the Premier League shouldn't really have been a problem for Jadon Sancho. but it has been a problem. And probably that's one of the reasons why they looked at it, Manchester City, and moved him on to Dortmund, that he didn't have the capabilities, the physical strength to go through playing in the Premier League. And you can clearly see at Manchester United, he has been poor. You know, I don't see any physicality from him in the game. It's like he always wants it at his feet and he wants to do something with it. Well, there's more to the Premier League than having nice toes and nice touches. You have to have the full package. And Jadon Sancho in the Premier League hasn't got it. He seems to have it, the style of football, over in Dortmund, and that's fine there. But he was never, ever a 70-odd million pound player.
You did actually say that about 12 or 18 months ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember you saying it was a lot of people out there at the time not agreeing with that. And I think the word you used was you don't think Sancho will ever live up to that price tag.
No, well, it's worked out that way. I didn't think he had the physicality, and it's been proven right. He never seems to want to physically get into it. And, you know, to be honest with you, we've got a few players in the team now who are going that way, where they don't want to tackle, where they don't want to challenge for headers in case they get injured, where they don't want to chase back. Jadon Sancho just epitomises what's going on in this team as it stands now with some players.
Yeah, Yaladeen says if you watch Palace play, you'll see how creative Olise is, and Højlund will thrive.
Yeah, but I've watched him play.
Scored a couple over the weekend, didn't he, against Brentford?
Listen, I'm not too sure, but I've seen him, and he does create, and he is a good player. But there is loads of players like him in the Premier League. It's not what Manchester United need. And I'll say it again, with enough youngsters, and all we need is a couple of top-class players to be brought in. Now, that's what we're missing.
You look at Jared Bowen from West Ham.
Well,
he's going through a bit of a purple patch there, isn't he, Bowen?
Well, you look at Mason
Would
Mount.
he be too dissimilar to what Olise is? Do you know what I mean?
You know, we've missed players like Mason Mount and all that. He was there. He was there for the state. And then you've got the other player at West Ham there. You know, good footballers. Well, Alisa is on that level as a good footballer. You know, but it's still early days for Alisa.
Yeah.
Things might go pear-shaped for him, or he might improve to be this world-class player. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not what United need at the moment. United are going to go through a transition phase, right, where they need to bring in solid world-class players. That's how I see it. But to be honest with you, I don't think we'll get them. I honestly don't think we'll get him. I think Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, have got their own plan, the way they're going to look at it. But to me, that's how I see it. Alisa, not for me.
Yeah, JB says Sancho was never quick enough to play in the Premier League,
no, that's
especially
true.
as a winger, and I agree with that. I always thought Jadon Sancho in the Premier League is probably best suited as a number 10, where maybe Bruno is, but he's never then going to give you that press what Bruno does give you. Or, to be honest, he's been lacking with that, I think, actually, recently, Bruno.
Yeah.
So what we've seen earlier on last season and the season before.
Yeah, but that was the argument when Jadon Sancho come in, is that he would thrive in that position where Bruno is. So what was the idea of actually signing him when we had Bruno? It didn't make sense. And then to put him out on the wing when he hasn't got the speed, he can't take players on and beat 2 or 3 players. He hasn't got the speed. So looking at him in the Bruno role might have been a good idea, but you was never going to move Bruno. So why bring him and why pay that fee? That is the strategy, and that is what has affected. Well, that is what has baffled us all with a lot of the transfers what have come into Manchester United. We seem to have bought players like Sancho, right, where players are already in that position. It doesn't make sense. What are not going to be moved?
Yeah, buying him for the right wing, and then he prefers to play on the left. That's what we bought him for, didn't we? We was all wanting a right winger. We thinking getting Sancho to play on the right, and then he's playing on the left-hand side because that's where he prefers to play. Well,
it's been here that long, and then the comment come out from Sancho that he prefers to play on the left. And
but listen, the coaches have said that as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that.
So why
he's come out.
That's the thing. So why
bring him in? Where was the due diligence done before they even signed him? Like, look, we needed a right winger, and then he gets here, and it's like, well, we need to put him on the left.
Well, that's the thing. Why bring Olise in? Whose place is he going to take? That's the thing. Is he going to stop someone's development, what's already there? And that's the issue. If we've got the youngsters, why block them with somebody else of the same standard and pay good money for these players. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, Mick Cypher in the chat. Cheers for your super chat. He says,
you.
Erik ten Hag is another bad hire by a dire recruitment team.
Things aren't working out for Erik ten Hag.
No, they're not in the minute. They're not at the moment.
Yeah, no, they're not working out. Listen, we back Erik ten Hag.
Yeah.
We think he should be given at least 3 years because at the end of the day, chopping and changing, it's not going to change anything. And to be honest with you, those who back Erik ten Hag to get out, sat right now, who's to come in? I don't see anybody there, and I don't see any reason why Erik ten Hag should go when the change behind the scenes are all going to be made. Putting people in their place and all that.
There's a lot of players there, though, currently, and especially this season, who have actually been letting him down, though, with the performances. If you look at it since he's come in, for me, the attitude of getting certain players out the club, trying to change the culture with inside the club, the players like Sancho, etc., who aren't putting it in, getting them out the team.
Yeah.
And that's what we've wanted for a manager. I never thought it was going to be a quick fix anyway.
No.
Maybe we got carried away a little bit with how it went on last season, expecting them improvements this season, and it's just not worked out that way. But for me, he's made a lot about having his full squad back. And when that does come back, and you're looking at round about that February time, if results still stay the same when he's got the majority of his players back, I've got a big worry for him, me.
Yeah, we've got a big worry for him. Listen, Erik ten Hag has made mistakes. Yeah. Every manager makes mistakes, right? But the thing is, he has to rectify them. He's under big pressure now. I hope he gets the chance for next year to sort it out. I hope the people in the background, what Ineos are bringing in, are in place and everything works out. But it's a tough task for Erik ten Hag. But it'd even be a tougher task bringing in a new manager right now, because at the end of the day, things aren't in place and it will take time. The decisions will be made. And I've said before, the problem with Erik ten Hag is, as I've seen, when new owners come in and they do a clean sweep. That is the danger for Erik ten Hag. He's made mistakes. Really, some of them he should have put right. But the difficulty is what he's got. I don't think anyone would have been able to put him, especially with 12 months, 14 months of, is this club being sold and all that. Players have took the mick. They've been able to sort of say and do what they want and think they can get away with it. Erik ten Hag's tried to create that discipline, what used to be there, and people are just pushing it to the edge. That's how I see it. And they try to undermine him. Sancho's done that, and players around Sancho are still doing it. We've seen players on the pitch not even run. And what's a manager supposed to do with that when a player goes out on the pitch, trains all week, does everything right, and then gets on the pitch and does not chase back to help the midfield or the defence, and doesn't run around and doesn't stay in his position? What's he supposed to do with that? So at the end of the day, Ineos are coming in and big changes hopefully will come, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. Yes, I'm sick of the changing of managers. That's why I want ten Hag to stay here, and let's see if he can do it. And at the end of the day, if they make the change, they make the change. It's the way it is, and the new manager comes in, and then you have to get behind that manager. But I don't see who can come in. You tell me. That's what I want to hear. And I've not seen anyone come on here for weeks and months and tell me what manager is ready to come in here, turn this club round and give it success. That's all I'm waiting for. I
think we probably will today after you're asking people, but we have asked them before, and we can...
Proven managers. Look, that's what I'm asked for. Proven managers, what win things. Win things.
Well, people are probably going to look at your Zinedine Zidane's, people like that at Real Madrid. But at the same time, I think with the strategy of what's going to take place here, a lot of emphasis is going to be focused on bringing youth through and developing the youth. And you've got to think Erik ten Hag's time at Ajax on his CV, brought a lot of youth players through, and he has tried doing that here at Manchester United, but he's also then got big problems what he's had to sort out. You know, one fire comes up, he's then having to put another two out once he's put that one out. And, hopefully when Ineos do come in And to Jim Ratcliffe, there's a structure there then that gets put in place, with sporting directors, a CEO. We've not even got a permanent one yet. And there's some sort of leadership there on the pitch. Because like we've said before, he just seems isolated at the moment, Erik ten Hag. He's being very hypocritical in what he's saying before and after press conferences. We mentioned the other day, we've stopped doing the press conferences because we can't sit here and mask our frustration in what he's saying. So I'm not going to sit here and slate our manager. But at the same time, I'm going to dive back into the chat because Mick Cypher's come back with a super chat and he says, is he a risk? We can't afford any more bad decisions from Erik ten Hag.
Is he a risk?
Yeah.
Of course he's a risk. He might have already lost these players. He might not be able to turn it round. Is he a risk? Yes, he is a risk. I think every manager's a risk, as has been seen.
But Ten Hag didn't come in here with that label that he was already an elite manager.
No.
He's come from the Dutch league, he's won domestic trophies over there, etc. Had a little bit of a flirt in Europe with a young Ajax team, got to, was it the semi-finals or quarter-finals, I can't remember. But apart from that, I never thought we're getting an elite manager here from Ajax.
No.
I always thought it's going to be a manager like a lot of the squad where it's going to take time and progression to see how he gets on in another 3 years' time.
I never thought he was an elite manager coming over here. But what you have to look at is, why did United actually employ him? Well, one of the reasons United employed Erik ten Hag was because of the work he's done over in Holland with young players and everything else like that. And that was part of the reason he came to Manchester United. They wanted him to work with the youth and everything. Well, the youth are just coming through now. So at the end of the day, the people in charge who employed Erik ten Hag will have talked to Ineos, and one of the reasons, but Erik ten Hag will have spoken to Ineos and everyone involved there on the football inside of it now. They will have a clear picture of why he was brought in, what they expect going forward from Erik ten Hag, and they will make an assessment of whether he can achieve that. And is it enough for Erik ten Hag just to be able to work with young players? Is he failing in other departments? Well, he clearly is, because of looking where Manchester United are. So Ineos will look at it and take the big picture, but I think they'll just sit on it. I say that, I think they'll sit on it till the summer. But listen, tomorrow,
you just don't know.
You just don't know. But there's one thing we all do know: Erik ten Hag has made mistakes. All managers make mistakes, but the cycle of rinse and repeat has to end at some point.
The thing is, though, for change here at Manchester United, Ineos and Ratcliffe are going to have to be ruthless.
Yes.
And that may also then fall onto the manager as well if results don't improve once he gets his fully fit squad back.
Yeah, well,
axe might just come down on his head, because at the end of the day, we can't turn around and say we want him to be ruthless in other departments within Manchester United and also not say that on the manager as well.
You say results have got to improve. Well, I look at this, the Premier League games, the 4 Premier League games, okay? And it's Tottenham, it's Wolves, we've got Aston Villa away, we've got West Ham United at home.
Luton in there as well, I think.
Yeah, but that's after.
Yeah.
But the next 4 games, okay, are the most crucial games. We could actually, on form, lose all 4 games. So what happens then when the Premier League rubber stamp Ineos coming in? We could actually lose all 4 games. That is the reality of where this football club is and this team and the way it's playing. Based on that Forest game, okay, and many other games, going out against Forest, they weren't bothered in that first half. They weren't bothered until we was a goal behind, okay? To me, it looked like they were just jogging around, trying to play out a 0-0 draw. But I am telling you, them 4 games, that's the reality. We could lose all 4. Then, as they say, the proverbial, it's the fan.
Yeah. Anything to add before we go?
No, but I'm looking forward to the next 4 league games. And quite rightly so.
Yeah,
because I want to turn it round. Yeah. I want United to win them games. I want Erik ten Hag to turn it round. But I have to look at it with my head and not my heart. The fact is we could get beat, but I do believe we're going to turn it round.
Yeah, of course. This is the time you've got to support your club as well, innit? As a supporter, do you know what I mean? You're not always going to get the great times. We've been going through a real dire time for the last decade. Let's have it right.
Well, it's the worst I've ever seen it.
Yeah, well, we've won one trophy in the last 6 years, I think, and
well, I'm not.
things need to improve.
I don't look at it from a trophy point of view. Yes, that's nice if you get trophies and that's great. Listen,
yeah, but that's your generation. No, your generation went back to where we got like relegated.
I'm just about to explain.
Yeah,
right. I am a different generation in that. Right, trophies are nice, you get them in that. Right, but as a working class man, okay, right, I just enjoy going to watch a great game of football where people work hard and all that. Getting trophies is an icing on the cake, but things have changed. Things have changed with me. I want United to be able to dominate other teams and win the trophies and keep winning them, right? This is the world we live in, you know. Coming second all the time is nothing. But United have got big problems because the further they fall behind over the next couple of years, if the investment and things don't work out with Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, right, we'll be so far behind. And I'm watching and I'm living through this football club in a crisis, the worst I've ever known in my life. So at the end of the day, I've got optimism. I always have it. So come on.
Optimism. We're still in the FA Cup. We could get to the final there and have our Wembley final day out.
I'm not starting that. I am not starting. We can win the FA Cup.
Yeah, we will do if we beat Wigan.
Next time. No, don't get me on it. No. Get me off here.
Right, okay. Thanks for joining us, everyone. If you've enjoyed today's live stream, please hit a like on the video. I'd just like to thank everyone for getting involved in the chat. Apologies that I've not been able to read off any more comments because there has been quite a lot of comments in there, but just like to let you all know we appreciate you joining in and getting involved, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video, so hopefully you can come and join us. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.